Okay. Hi, Leo. This is Tarot Lumination. That's you, Leo. This is your love and relationship report for November 2017. The convention is that we use star signs. So we're just following the convention because it seems to work. We don't really need them for tarot, but we're doing it anyway because it kind of breaks it up in ways that everybody understands. All right, so cards are already well pre-shuffled in advance, but we're going to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals, none of it. Very simple, just keeping it very, very simple. Simple as possible. This is what I call a crucible spread. It's on the understanding that there's you, Leo, there's a significant other, and then there's the relationship itself. And the relationship itself has a structure and identity that is its own thing. And a healthy relationship, the crucible is very strong, and both parties conduct themselves through the relationship and enjoy and invest in the relationship itself as opposed to head on face to face, because they understand the value of the relationship. Okay, of course not everybody operates that way, but that's how we look at it here at Tarot Illumination. Okay, so we're just going to jump in, we're just going to go for it. Cards are now well shuffled, and you'll see everything in a moment. We'll just tell a story. You can reinterpret however you want, of course. Make it work for you. If it doesn't make any sense at all, please be sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising, and then make an evaluation. Okay, so cards are cut, and we're now going to go for it. Leo, by the way, you're still under a lot of influence with that big fat fire trine, pushing you to evolve towards the more Leo than you've ever been before. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So let's see, that's you, your energy, love energy. This would be a significant other, a chosen relationship, their love energy. This would be going deep into you. This would be going deep into the other. And this would be at the core of the relationship itself here. So can you see the crucible shape that we're trying to show you here? It's like a bowl. Crucible is a very, very tough, typically ceramic bowl used in industry and laboratories to withstand intense reactions, which can sometimes occur in the context of relationship. So this is kind of the momentum, the prospects of where it's going. And remember, this too shall pass. This is just a temporal thing. We're going to look at the circumstantial energy here. I like to call it the weather. And you don't have to live at the mercy of the weather. You're going to own it. Okay, you're going to make the best of it. All right, so let's get started. You have Three of Swords. So Leo, at some point or other, it might be coming to either a very dim realization or a very stark realization that there's something going on that may not be let's say, very comfortable when it comes to matters of the heart. Now, this is a Swords card, okay? So it's mostly to do with what's in the mind. And we feel so much through our head. Our head is our primary sense organ in many ways, apart from the skin on our bodies. And so if you feel that there's something inappropriate going on and you can sense it around you in your surroundings, then it's important to take note and just sort of acknowledge that. It might not be obvious, it might not be right in your face, but you might be sensing that. There might be some kind of love triangle thing going on that's not appropriate or not welcome. Or you might be heartbroken about another triangulated situation, or you might realize that you have a relationship situation that is in trouble and you might need third party, let's say, intervention. Okay, either way, most people don't like to see this card in a love and relationship reading. This is circumstantial, it's around you, so it might not be directly to do with you or the other. It just might be an awareness, but it's important to acknowledge that if that's around you some way, somehow. Let's have a look. So here we go. This would be you. So, Leo, you might be in a situation where you're battling yourself here. It's almost like a realization. If you're in a relationship situation now where there is some evidence or a suspicion or feeling of betrayal or like a triangulation thing going on, or whether they're even cheating or anything like that, and you can sense it and it's around you, it could be your own undoing. It could be that you were the cause of your own undoing. For this type of energy to occur, it typically involves another person or perhaps two other people or some form of triangulation. And a lot of times triangles are not welcome and don't work too well in relationships. Sometimes they're the perfect thing because it awakens people to what's actually going on. But in this situation, with you radiating the energy of the Five of Swords, it's like being right for the sake of being right, even if it means you're unhappy. And people have to make those decisions every day. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And that's kind of what's happening here with this card. So you might feel as though you're perfectly justified to sense what you are sensing. And maybe it's absolutely true you're sensing. And maybe you will react to it in such a way that is not pleasant. And you might then realize, like, okay, well, ha ha ha, I caught you, or I got you, or I knew something like this was going on. I'm sounding like I'm, a writer from a soap opera or something. But this is the energy of futile conflict. This is the energy of realizing that maybe there's nothing that can be done here. It might be the realization that you might have been the cause of your own demise simply because you're always insisting on being right, even if you're not happy. And I'm not trying to hurt your feelings or insult you here, Leo. All I'm trying to suggest is that you might have been like living along in such a way where everything was just status quo, and then just an inkling is telling you and making you feel like, wait a minute, there's something out of whack here. And if it's coming at you and you're being told, well, I told you so, or if you're feeling it and you decide to confront this and turn it into something where you can justify yourself, but in so doing, you actually alienate the other or the relationship itself, it's kind of futile. How does that help? That's not a very loving way to be. It might be perfectly justified. In other words, if there's a legitimate betrayal going on, if there's some kind of triangulation thing or a cheating thing, or there's a third party and it's not very, let's say, comfortable, and you don't like it, you don't like feeling it, or there's part of you which could say, you know what? F all of you. I don't give a hoot. You guys go off and do whatever you want to do. I don't give two hoots. Thank you very much. And it's almost like all that time, you never care. You never did care. And which is kind of tragic. It's okay. Let's have a look. What's going on with the other here? All I'm feeling, it sounds like I'm being really harsh on you, Leo, but all I'm suggesting here is that also you might have to look after yourself. You might have to defend yourself because you might be on the receiving end, let's say, conflicts that you don't deserve, but at the same time, there's no way out of it because this is circumstantial. In other words, something could have been going on for a time or a while or a long time without you knowing, or this has always been lurking in the background and now it's apparent, and there's nothing much you can do about it. There's nothing much they can do about it. It's just how it is. And so it's just like the energy of you going to the other one going, you know what? It's almost like, you know what? F you. And the other one says, well, F you too, because there's a reason why the Three of Swords is here, because of that F you in the first place. In other words, you, Leo, might have a way of conducting yourself in the relationship at this period of time where it's evident that things were not appreciated in the bigger sense. And now it's kind of like it's turned into this potential here. Maybe it's not actually happening. Maybe it's just the potential that's there that's happening, but it's like a splintering and a breakup of some kind, or like a triangulation. Because sometimes, Leo, how people they're in relationships. They don't want to deal with the static. They don't want to deal with the conflict. They just want everything to be as it is, even if it's all broken and messed up, because it's too hard to deal with these kind of energies. And so you get stuck in these like petty wars that have no actual decent outcome. You can't prevail here. They can't prevail here. It's just the futile energy of duh, and wuh, and wuh. And it might not even be outwardly spoken. It could just be like below the scenes, everything's done in silence, where everything is literally like duh, 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 like, oh, I love you, lovely, 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 love life, wonderful, love. Duh, duh. But it's the shadow side of what we're talking about here is like below the surface, because nobody wants to admit it, nobody wants to deal with it because it's too awkward, too painful, too uncomfortable. Let's have a look at the significant other. Okay, well, my feeling here, some people call it a marriage card. I don't see that in this particular reading, but it might be, Leo, that you're dealing with someone who's basically decided they are going to rewrite the rules. They're going to rewrite the rules in a way that works. Uh, I don't know what way or how at the moment, but someone who is basically, let's say, setting things in order according to a higher order, where everything becomes depersonalized. In other words, they may not be enjoying any of the circumstance of this any more than you, Leo, and they've already made a decision that if this is how it is, this is the way it's going to be, then that's how it is, because they have decided that they're going to start to rewrite the codes of relationships and behavior in a way that works for them, as opposed to works for what the status quo might have been. And then so be it. It's like writing the commandments according to Leo's significant other here, and they're going to, let's say, create their own code book, their own vows, perhaps new vows with someone else, a triangulated thing where, oh, it sounds like it's almost like they want to run off and get married to somebody else, or they want to be with somebody in a way that works for them, that might not have worked with you guys, leaving you in this kind of awkward stalemate position. But it's still very awkward for the other party too. Okay, Leo. So it puts them in a position where, because this permeates the whole reading, so this permeates the other party as well, Leo. So they could be in equal pain themselves. So you might be suffering in your own way, Leo, in case there is disharmony in home, disharmony in the relationship, in such a way that the codes are broken and they need to be rewritten. But you see, because this is circumstantial, it's just like acknowledging it, knowing that it's out there, and then dealing with it. And it affects them. So they might be very remorseful about what's happening. And they might be using that energy of remorse. And let's just say, whatever it is they're getting or learning from this bust up, broken up type of situation, this may not be permanent. This might just be an ongoing state of flux, where this has come to the surface right now, where there might be some deep conflict inside the relationship, and it's time to rewrite the codes. And you, Leo, are with someone who has made a decision that that's what has to happen. But it might not be working in a way that, necessarily directly benefits you. It's more about the other one is learning about what doesn't work in a relationship, which is prompting them to rewrite the codes for what does work in a relationship going forward, even though the chance of going forward at this moment is very, very, let's say, awkward, because because of the energy of triangulation. So you know how sometimes relationships go in a state of flux, where there's relationship, there's you, Leo, and the significant other, and you have a relationship to some degree or other. Yet things are not happy at home, and it's splintering up, and in comes the let's see, what can I use? In comes, let's just say, another card here. I'm going to pull. This is not in comes the other party to bust it all up, and bring lightness and awareness about what's happening. Now, it happens in a way that's very uncomfortable, called a triangulation or a breakup or a split or cheating or a divorce or separation or something like that. But out of the darkness comes the light, okay? So trying to put a positive spin on this, the light could be that the significant other has seen the light and it's just like, you know what? This isn't working. This is messed up. They've already gone over here. They're starting to mind their own business. They're still bound in the triangle, perhaps. There might be a triangulation thing going on here because sometimes it's very hard to make clear-cut absolute decision where it's just us or just us. You know, Leo with Leo core partner, or core partner with Leo, or core partner with new person, or Leo with new person. Whatever it is, it's in a state of flux because of the, the symbolism of the triangle here. But eventually these things get resolved and things often go back to the binary type of relationship that you have in a traditional relationship where it's the self and the other, which is the most profound kind of relationship, the most satisfying, the most challenging, the most risky, and the most rewarding. So it feels to me here, Leo, that you might be in a situation where you are intuiting that things are not quite right. You're holding to your guns because you feel justified in doing so. They're holding to their way of being because they feel they have to. So they're going to like starting things from scratch, but in a way that is right for them. Okay, let's go deeper. Okay, so, so Leo, as magnanimous and wonderful as you are, what might be happening right now is almost kind of a rude awakening. I feel with the Page of Wands here, it's an exposure of one's innocence and one's naivety. And even though there might have been all the best of intentions, all the best wishes, and you might still have all the best intentions and best wishes, not just for yourself, but for your loved one or ex-loved one or loved one who's in a bind right now with you and with another who's not even on this reading. It exposes, let's say, your innocence. Also, it exposes your intentions to have meant well, to have done well, to have already done the best you possibly could, but also realizing that maybe there was just a degree of innocence and immaturity that was just not prepared for what is showing here. In other words, it doesn't matter. There's no way this could have been avoided because you just would never have had the capacity to handle it going in, because you might have gone into the original relationship full of love and light and happiness. But as we grow and evolve in relationships, we reach our levels of incompetence. Everybody at some point reaches their level of incompetence where we realize, oh my gosh, there's a bunch of stuff that I don't really know. And someone else might know more, or so on and so on and so on. But we all evolve to that point of our incompetence, and then we have to figure out, where do we go now? And those are the big leaps into the great beyond. So it might be for you, Leo, they've already figured out that they've already gone into a process of triangulation as their way of expressing that they're either on the way out, or they have split, or they are cheating because they can't cope with this. They can't cope. Now, it doesn't matter if, let's say, they're doing the cheating or you're doing the cheating, or you feel justified or they feel justified. It doesn't matter, because if this is the prevailing energy, it's just, again, betrayal, treachery, loss, betrayal of innocence, and things like that, which is uncomfortable for everybody. So it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. So it puts everybody in an awkward position, even though there was no intention for that. Okay? There's no ill will here at all. It's just an exposure of our humanity, your humanity, Leo, about your own best of intentions going in, but realizing there's limitations and you might have reached the limits of the relationship. And that's just a question of accepting it. The mature thing would be to accept how things are. So let's have a look. What's going on inside of them? Hanged Man. Okay, so over here, it could indicate that with a significant one or a chosen one or a loved one, that this whole situation has really kind of blown everything up for them and put them in a state of let's say, relationship limbo. They might be fully aware of this situation, and it's either open and overt and apparent, or it's completely private. It doesn't even matter because the energy is still there anyway. It's almost like you don't even have to talk about it. You can just smell it or sense it or sniff it or something, because there's just not something not quite right in the way that the relationship is being conducted, like face to face. So what happens is the other party is either unwittingly put in a position where they have to completely reevaluate their whole love relationship dynamic, have to see it from a whole new perspective, even if it's almost shameful and painful and embarrassing and awkward. It's important to know, it's important to understand these things. Also, it could be happening because of the major arcanas here. It could be that it feels like it's almost kind of fated, almost like, well, this was inevitable. It was from their perspective over here, it was just a question of time when this would happen. Okay, so that leaves you kind of in a jam, Leo, almost like it's not fair, because it's almost like you get caught off guard in your innocence, like, well, wait a minute, like, do I deserve this? What did I do to deserve this? Oh, is there anything we can do to fix this, save this? I meant well, I meant no harm. But apparently things didn't actually work out from their perspective for whatever reason. And so they are in that point of realization, like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Because they are now starting to, like, because this is circumstantial energy, they're starting to feel it in their world. So what do? It's very discombobulating. It would create a real sense of out of body experience, like poof, blammo. What happens when, let's say, a cheating is exposed? It really kind of blows everything apart. Let's have a look at the core. Okay. Okay, with the Knight of Swords here, Leo, it's almost like, I don't want to say this is anger, but it might be that there's some repressed anger that either needs to come out or is going to come out, where it could end up you're stepping on their toes or they're stepping on your toes, which wouldn't be at all surprising, given the circumstantial energies here. It's just that you don't want to get carried away with it and turn it into a full-on battle here, where it's just about proving who's right and who's wrong. If it's over, if it's messed up and it's all messed up, then it's messed up. So what do you do now? If you want to turn it into a war and a battle, remember, this is your relationship reading for you. It's not a couple's relationship. There is another person, but they're not here in the room with us, okay? This is all about you, Leo. So you might be dealing with someone who's feeling very, very fated at the moment in the way things are happening, and they're dealing with it in their own way by realizing they have to call a new order, even though it's very discombobulating. You are taking it probably in a very different way, where it's almost like, this is offensive. I don't deserve this. I was caught out. I was innocent. Why me? That kind of energy. Let's have a look over here. Okay, so it might put you in a spot where you're on your own. Okay, that might not be a bad thing. Maybe it's, it's like a major wake-up call, like, wake up, Leo. It's time to grow out of this kind of situation, this kind of behavior, this kind of innocence. And as painful as this might be, it could be actually beneficial for you to, let's say, go through the conflict, live through the conflict, and come out the other side where there's independence is established. In other words, maybe it's best that they go their way and you go their way. You can claim your independence. You can bless them and let them claim their independence. But it does mean an awful lot of forgive and forget. Now, I don't see any cards here about that indicating that, and that might be another reading. But for the time being, I'm going to just leave it like this. You can reinterpret however you want. Watch sun, moon, and rising. You know the drill. Make the best of it. Reinterpret however you want to. Okay? I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or touch any hard nerves or anything like that. I'm just calling it out as kindly as I can, and also staying truthful to my own integrity here as your reader. Okay? Thank you very much, Leo. All the best. Okay? Bye-bye.